Hey, what's up? I'm Norris and welcome back to another sew along. Now, whenever you see me, just know your girl Mimi G is busy and I'm filling in to work out her new Simplicity pattern, which is 3010. And today we'll be working on view B, the top. Now, if you're new to sewing, I just want to ease back into it. You can always visit sewingacademy.com. Once you get to the site, you can go ahead and take advantage of our free trial. Okay, now let's get started. Okay, once again, like I said, we'll be working on Mimi G Simplicity pattern, which is S3010. And we will be working on view B, which is the crop top. Okay, so if you turn to the back, once again, you have your fabric suggestions, you have your notions, and then also too, you want to double check the finished garments at the bottom so you'll know exactly how the garment will fit at the end, so you can make a decision on what sizes you want to cut out. Now let's go through all the pattern pieces we will need for this particular garment. All right, so you'll need pattern piece number 9, which is the front. You're gonna cut one on the fold here. Pattern piece number 10, which is the back. You wanna cut one on the fold of your fabric here. Then we have the armhole, which is pattern piece number 12. You're gonna cut 2 of these out of your fabric, and the seam allowance here is gonna be 3/8 of an inch, as you can see on the pattern. And then last but not least, we have pattern piece number 11. This is the neckband. You wanna cut one of these out on your fold, and that is right here. And the seam allowance on this is also 3/8 of an inch. Now, once you get all your pattern pieces cut out of your fabric, we can begin order of construction. Okay, so the very first thing we wanna do, we're going to attach the front and the back up here at the shoulders, and we're going to pin. And then also the side seam. Okay, so now we're gonna head to the machine. We're gonna stitch across the shoulders using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, and then also the same seam allowance here on the side. Okay, so before I get started, I just wanna let you know you wanna use the proper stitch and then also the needle. You wanna get a stretch needle or something, maybe a microtech, depending on the type of knit you're working with. Also, you could use a lightning bolt stitch or a very narrow zigzag stitch, just so your seams won't pop, because it will be stretching over your body. And then also, if you own a serger, you can definitely sew this garment up using just your serger. So I will be using my sewing machine to sew this up, but I will be using my serger to clean up my seams. Okay, so you want to sew your other shoulder and side seam the same exact way. Okay, we're back from the machine. As you can see, we have our shoulders and our side seams together, and I press my seams towards the back and also at the shoulders towards the back. And then now we're going to work on our neckline. So you want to grab your neckband, right sides facing, as you can see right here. And then we're going to pin. Okay, so now that we have it pinned, you want to go ahead and stitch across using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, I went ahead and pressed that seam open, and then I folded it wrong sides touching all the way around, and I gave it a good press. Now I'm going to start with the back. So I'm going to turn it with the back facing up, and with the raw edges meeting, I'm going to put this back seam right here in the center, and we're going to pin. So there should be some dots. Those dots should be right where that shoulder seam is. I end up doing notches instead, but it's still a marking. You want to do the other side the same way. Okay, so there should be notches. You should match up along the front too. Okay, so in between all these first pins, you want to kind of just pull like this and stretch to fill in those pins in between. Okay, now that we have it all pinned, let's head to the machine and we're going to stitch all the way around the neckline using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so when we're sewing this together, you want to pull a little bit to stretch it out as we go all the way around, and remember, it's 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, clean off your seams and press your seams down. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, we went ahead and cleaned off the seam underneath and pressed it down. Now you can go ahead and do a top stitch. I say maybe 1/8 of an inch away from that seam, or you can wait and do it at the end after we do our armband. And now we want to grab your armband and with right sides facing again, just like we did the neckband. Want to pin. Now head over to the machine and stitch across using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, I'm back from the machine. I went ahead and pressed that seam open, and then once again I folded it onto itself with the wrong sides touching. And then now you want to pay attention to your seam and then also that first notch here. That's going to match up with the seam and notch here on your armhole. And then that notch at the top, that goes to where your shoulder seam is. So let's go ahead and pin at the side seam first. Okay, so once again, once you have it pinned all the way around, we're going to head back to the sewing table and stitch all the way around using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, we're back from the machine, and as you can see, I went ahead and finished my seams and then also press them towards the top. All right, so you want to go ahead and grab your other armband and then do your other side the same exact way. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and added the other armband on and I gave it a good press, and I also cleaned my seams underneath and I pressed it towards the actual top. So now we're going to go ahead and do some top stitching around the neckline and then also the armhole. Okay, so I'm about 1/8 of an inch away, and remember you can use a narrow zigzag stitch or a stretch stitch, just so when you put it over your head it won't pop. And I'm about 1/8 of an inch away from that seam. Okay, so now you want to do the same thing to both of your armholes. Okay, we're back from the machine. As you can see, we have the top stitching. And then, so as you can see, I went ahead and cleaned my hem with a serge. And then the only thing you have to do after that is turn under 1 inch. And then top stitch it 2 rows if you like. You can do 1 row if you want. But then after you do that, you're all done. All right, congratulations, you're all done. Now I hope you enjoyed this sew along, and remember to always tag Mimi at Mimi G Style. And if you want to tag me on this particular project, you can tag me at Norris Danta, and we will see you in the next sew along.